We are going to cover confirmation entries, and there are different ways of doing confirmation entry, but I'm going to show you the best way to use. As you're seeing here, we have this, which is 1 hour rejects 1 hour and 1 hour breakouts. 4 hour rejects 4 hour and 4 hour or 1 hour breakouts. Now, when we have this, we can use this concept, 1 hour concept or 4 hour concept for confirmation entries. Now, if you have a trade like this, we use this confirmation entry, we can use it for reversal, we can use it for continuation also. I'm going to show you how to do that. If we have a structure, the market is down, and our valid entry is this point. We want to enter from here. And we also have this area where we don't pick trade. Most times, the market might not get to this resistance. The same thing with if you are in an uptrend. Now, sometimes when the market gets to this part, the market might move to here, then drop, or the market moves to this part and takes off. There are two things that might have happened here. That's why the market used the areas which is not our top priority. Either there was a confirmation entry on lower time frames. That's one of it. Either there was a confirmation entry on a lower time frame, then the market took off from there. That's one of the reasons why the market will use here and did not come down to this place. We use this for I told you can use this for continuation entry and also for reversal entry. So I'm on 1 hour time frame. There's a current trade I took. Yeah, there's a current trade that is running. Current trade, yes, there's a current trade, which is USD card. USD card. Now, this is a perfect example of that. Now, look at this place. Observe here very well. I'll clear these charts. When I say 1 hour rejects 1 hour, this is what I mean. We have a rejection here. We have a support there. And before I forget, I'll add this. The rejection, when we are looking for rejection on 1 hour or 4 hour, the rejection can only come from support or resistance. So rejection can only come from, or must only come from, support or resistance. Only in rare cases, that's when we can use rejection from a QM, and that QM must be FTQM or ABQM. FTABQM. You should also note that confirmation from rejection on QM is not as strong as rejection that happens on support and resistance. That's one thing you should note. That's one thing you should also note. Going back to our USD card, the market is bearish. You know that already. We had a rejection here. You see this rejection? This was a 1 hour support. The market rejected the support. After it was rejected, it also led to a breakout. You can see this breakout that happened here. This was a breakout on 1 hour. Rejection, this was a rejection. After rejection, it led to a breakout. So our entry was supposed to be where the supports. You see, most times, now we are not going to use the support again because the support is already mitigated, it's on fresh. So we're going to look for a way to use this OCL here that is above this thing. We're not talking about the OCL here. This one is not too clean like that. You have to really master this toy to know how to pick this kind of one. The ones you'll be seeing is going to be the one you see after the rejection. 1 hour creates a support and resistance. And I'll add that also to this write-up, the rules and how to trade it. 1 hour reject, 1 hour support or resistance. After that, what do we have? We have A. After the rejection, we now have 1 hour resistance or support. After the rejection, then the same thing with 4 hour. That's the same thing we're looking for. Then we take our trade, our entry. Entry and refined. Okay, entry inside the, okay, let's just put entry on the 1 hour support or resistance. The same thing with this one. Same thing here. The same thing here. First of all, there must be a 1 hour reject 1 hour. This for continuation. This is a confirmation entry. And this confirmation entry must happen where, remember, confirmation entry, when you want to get the first confirmation entry, when getting confirmation, this is very important. For confirmation entries, the rejection, no need for me to write all this. Confirmation entries must happen on a key level, on any of the higher time frame key level for confirmation entries. For confirmation entries, this rejection, this whole thing that's happening on 1 hour and 4 hour must happen where on daily time frame, weekly, supports or resistance, then RBS or SBR, QM. You get? So this is on confirmation entries. It must happen on these key levels, either daily, weekly, or monthly. It must happen on those time frame key level. On top of this higher time frame, that's where we look for this rejection on 1 hour. This is a kind of rejection. This reject this, and there was a breakout. We opened for the market. If this support was still valid, then we would have expected this market to come into the support. Then now, when we want to take the trade on the support, how do we take that trade on support? What we do on that support, we always draw our support. You can mark a support box for the 1 hour. This is how we do it. Support box on the 1 hour. From the beginning of the body to the lowest or highest wick. Then the middle should be where you're taking your trade. The middle, the equilibrium, there should be where you're taking your trade. If you're taking the trade on USDJPY, you use 7 pips. If you're taking the trade on gold, you use your 3 pips. When you've mastered these things, then you can now decide to be, after you've mastered this, then you know how to, these are our 7 pips here, like it's too much, but that's it. You see that? But now that the support here was no more fresh, I was looking for the closest key level to this. So I used the OCL here. Whenever the support is being mitigated, we look for entries inside inside the long wick that mitigated the support. And what I'll do, I'll draw it also from the beginning of the wick that mitigated the support on that 1 hour from the beginning to the end. Then I take it at the equilibrium also. That was how I got this trade. You can either use 7.7 pips or you use your 55 pips, 5.5 pips. Then your target should be first TP here, or you take out some percentage here, because this one, why I took this one out early, because this one was opposite the current storyline. The storyline is bullish. Is bearish. So this was just a bullish continuation entry. Now you should also note this, write this down. When trading the 1 hour setup, the 1 hour reject 1 hour, is a must. Remember, is a must. It must correspond with the current storyline. I'll teach you how to trade it when it doesn't correspond with the current storyline, but it must correspond with the current storyline. Let's look for examples. I want to show you guys examples. On USD JPY, there's a trade we're supposed to take. If you still remember that trade when we are holding our last class, and I told you guys I was waiting for the market to come to somewhere. This was weekly. Let's go reset everything. Now, I was expecting, this is after this rejection and breakout on weekly, the market was bullish. We marked you still remember we marked here to enter our trade. These are FTFL. After marking our FTFL, we went to STFL. You still remember that? Then our STFL was on daily. On that STFL, this was where we marked. This was our STFL here. Now, if you watch, the market did not come to this STFL. Rather, the market used this SBR. You can see it. It used it the first time, came back, dipped into it, and used it again. So why did the market do this? Let me show you why the market did that. The same thing, confirmation entry. That's what the market used. Most time when the market does not come in to tap your entry on your TTFL, that means the market might be using a confirmation entry from a valid key level. You can see this key level here. This was RBS here. So I'm going to mark here. Let's go to 1 hour and see. The first time, this was what it did. The second time, this was what it did. So let's see what the market did on 1 hour. So the first time the market came, you see, it came down here. After the coming down, let's just mark this. This was a break here. And this was now the breakout. This was the breakout. You see the breakout. So in the breakout, what did we have? We had 1 hour rejects 1 hour. Look at it. 1 hour rejects 1 hour. Very perfect. After the rejection, what happened? There was a breakout. You see the breakout that happened there. This was the breakout. 1 hour rejects 1 hour, a breakout. And after the rejection and breakout, the market left a support for us. This is a perfect way to trade it. The market left a support for us. So inside this support, this was where we were supposed to look for trade here. Now, since this support has a long wick, I'm going to draw this from the body of the support to the end. Then inside this equilibrium, this was where I was supposed to take our trade. So if the market was coming down, we were supposed to take our trade here. Supposed to take it here. But the market did not really come down to that place. So this was the perfect place to take our trade. The rejection, as you can see, we had the rejection. This was 1 hour rejection, 1 hour reject 1 hour. You see that? After this was 1 hour reject 1 hour. Let me remove this. 1 hour reject. We see the candle that rejected. This was 1 hour reject 1 hour. After rejection, there was a breakout. After rejection and breakout, the market kept a fresh support for us. So inside this support, that's where we're supposed to take our trade, and our equilibrium, marking this support that has a long wick. The equilibrium there was here. So we mark it here, allow it to run. But it didn't come back there. Then later, it came back again to this part. If you see this one, there was a rejection again. There were so many rejections, but it's always good if the market just rejected it once. But if there are so many rejections, then there's no breakout. Remember what we learned? When there's a rejection, no breakout, that level is still valid for us. So there was a rejection here, rejection, there was a breakout, expecting the market to come back to here. But watch again, there was a rejection, but no breakout immediately. But as the market progresses, there was another rejection. You see, what are you seeing here? A rejection, not this rejection. There was a rejection from this QM. Before this rejection, there were so many rejections already, but this rejection did not lead to any breakout because after this rejection, we're supposed to have a breakout here, but there is no breakout here. But watch what happened after this rejection, and the market also created this one. There was a breakout here and also a breakout here. What happened? There was a rejection. Market rejected this QM. After the rejection, there was a breakout, and the market dropped a fresh support for us. At that fresh support, there are two ways we trade this, which I'm going to tell you now. We have this. Now, trading this thing two ways, when there are moves like this, when 1 hour reject 1 hour breakout and the market drops a fresh support or resistance for us. If the market was moving with a very high momentum, the market might not dip down to this place. So what I always do, I take my first trade here. I always take my first trade, the trade with the highest, with the biggest funds. I place it here, use my normal pips, 55 to 5 to 7 pips. I use it there. Then what I always do again, I place another trade here at the body of the 1 hour. I place it there. Because most time, why do I do this? Because based on how I trade the advanced Malaysian SNR, I've observed that most times, sometimes it doesn't dip down here. It will just tap the body, comes a little and move. So I don't want to miss out. So instead of me to miss out, if I always trade with my entry capital is $100, I'll split the money, put my 70 down here, which is the real trade, the valid one, then put my 30 here. So even if it takes me out from here, this one will trigger me. You understand? So that's how I trade this very way. Then another one, we also had another okay, this one there was no rejection here. If I want to check again, this continuation entry, you can use it for continuation and confirmation entries also. We also had, you see this one, we had this, because there was no rejection, there was no rejection, very close, there was no rejection. Let's leave it. We had a rejection again. See this rejection, 1 hour rejects 1 hour. Remember, I said we use this 1 hour reject 1 hour for continuation and confirmation entries. So as long as the market has not gotten to our draw on liquidity, we can keep entering the trades like this. So what did we experience here? This was all, these are current trades. This one was yesterday. We had 1 hour reject 1 hour. After 1 hour reject 1 hour, 1 hour reject 1 hour is not enough. There must be a breakout. So 1 hour reject 1 hour, there was a breakout. Look at the breakout. There was a breakout here. And also there was another breakout here. Then automatically this area is good for us to take trade. Either I take my trade on the body here, since is because you won't, sometimes you don't know when the market has a very high momentum. So either I enter my trade here or I take at the equilibrium here. So if I entered at the body of the support or resistance, 5.5 pips or 7 pips, that's what you use. This one wouldn't have triggered me, but this one has triggered me, and I like to run too. And since this market was bullish, since it was bullish, I just allow it to run. If monthly was bearish, weekly was bullish, daily bullish. So all this was matching up. Remember, I said it must, when using it for continuation, it should correspond with your current storyline, higher time frame storyline. Now it corresponds with daily. You see how it was moving. Again, we look for it again. It happened again. Where did it happen? We had here. You see that 1R rejects 1R. 1R rejects 1R. There was a breakout here. This was the breakout here now. This was the breakout. And the next candle did what? Came back to you see the support was fresh. So either I take my trade on the body or where? At the equilibrium. So if I wanted to take my trade from the body, let's see, would have been out of the trade, the market hitting our SL 55, would have been out of the trade. Yeah, the market hit our SL, but here, equilibrium would have still worked. If you're using between 5.5 to 7 pips, here would have still worked. But that's why I said, when you're starting out, use the 7 pips. Don't use 5.5 until you're conversant and you know how this thing works and you know how to maneuver some things. Then you can make your stop loss very tight. But 7 pips is okay for you to use. 7 pips should not be less or more than 7 pips. Now, using 7 pips here, you're still in the trade and your trade continues because you know that this entry is perfect. It corresponds with what your storyline. So you're good to go. You're good to take that trade. Let's look for it on a resistance. Let's say the storyline was bearish. We had 1R rejects 1R, 1 hour breakout here. And we were expecting here, this was where we were expecting, and the market dropped a resistance for us. Now, we were expecting the market to come here and drop, but it didn't really come there. Remember, when this happens, the market must happen like this. It must be a sharp move. After this occurs, comes down, rejection, breakout, it comes back again, tap in and drop. After rejection and after the breakout, we expect the market to come back again and tap us in. We don't need any other structures to be formed. If it does something like this was it, rejection, breakout, and instead of the market to come back to our resistance that was created after the rejection, the market start forming another structures like this. This area is no more valid for us to use. It must be sharp. It must be a sharp move. Rejection, breakout, comes back without forming more structures. When it forms more structures, it makes that one on top not to be valid or strong again. Remember, using it for continuation, it must correspond with your storyline. For example, we have a structure like this. We have a structure like this. And this is where we are expecting where the market to come to. And the market comes here. Remember, this low that is formed here is our draw on liquidity. This is where we expect the market to come to after triggering us in. So if it comes here, then give us 1 hour reject 1 hour breakout, and it taps us in. When coming down, our profit is here. It's because this is the next draw on liquidity. We had rejection, we had breakouts here. It came back. Now, when we have rejection and the market is going up to do a breakout, all these internal structures should not confuse you because you know this is where the breakout is. This is the breakout. So all these things happening here, all these internal structures that are happening here should not confuse you. Don't get confused. This is the breakout. And so this one, will just mark here. If I mark here and I take the equilibrium, like here, that's a sharp touch, then it left. So these things, they work a lot. I just want to look for it on resistance. After, if you see this, the same thing happened here, rejection, breakout. This was the breakout. So after the breakout, we expected the next candle to just come up here, tap us in, then drop. So that's what we expect. So you shouldn't be waiting for this after the market taps in and has dropped already. You're still waiting for a market that has left you. Now, coming back, entering this trade is not going to be, this is not too valid to use. It might work for you, but it's not valid. You will lose a lot. You will lose more than when you're going to end like this, because after this structure, there were other structures already. Other structures. Even this one. I guess this one was opposite of the storyline. It was opposite of the storyline. You want to do something like rejection here and a breakout down here. And it came back to equilibrium. Equilibrium should be here, then dropped. I guess this one was opposite of the storyline. This was another perfect one. I'm showing things that are perfect and they work very well. This was another perfect one here. Rejection, breakout. We expected it to come back here, but it did not come back. Now we have another perfect one. I've seen perfect one in resistance. We had rejection. This was a rejection. 1 hour reject, 1 hour. There was a breakout, 1 hour breakout. You see, after the breakout, what happened? There was no other structure. The market just came back up. Equilibrium. Equilibrium was okay. We had an equilibrium there from here to here. Here, tapped the equilibrium. Then it dropped. See that? I guess his storyline was bearish. Okay. Storyline was bearish, I guess, and that's why it happened like this. It came down. And when you enter, the higher time frame draw on liquidity should be where you are taking out your profit.